Bobby Torres of Frightbox recording here to show you how I'm achieving a nice, crisp, and fat drum sound using only a single plugin. And in today's video, I'm using the Burnley 73 by Sonimus plugins. So without any further ado, I'm gonna play the audio sample back and I will dissect and explain to you how I'm achieving this drum tone using only this single plugin. Let's check it out. Okay, I'm gonna play it back once more and pay close attention to when I bypass the plugin. Check out just how different the drums actually sound overall. Pay close attention. Okay, in my opinion, that's a pretty significant difference. By the way, this audio sample is by my good friends in a band called Toy Machine. I will leave a link below to their music within this video's description. So now, if we take a look at this plugin, the thing I love most by far is its simplicity. You only have a handful of knobs and that's it, but you can accomplish a lot in a very musical way. And for me, it's mainly because I don't get caught up in numbers. I simply find the frequency that I need by feel, boost or cut it, add saturation, and I'm done. So in other words, this plugin is simplifying my workflow, which I'm all about. I always prefer to have a nice, simple, and clean, efficient workflow. So I'm sure you noticed when I bypassed the plugin before when I was playing the sample, it almost sounded like a blanket was covering my overall drum sound. And by the way, I have this plugin on my drum stem track, so it's all of my drum related elements, overheads, close mics, room mics, even my drum reverb, everything. So this plugin is on my drum master, which I call my drum stem track. Now, if you're familiar with the Neve EQ, the 1073, this layout here probably looks pretty familiar to you because this is based off of that EQ, or it's inspired by it. So with that being said, I'm gonna show you how I'm utilizing this 1073 style EQ, in this case the Burnley 73, to achieve the sound that you're hearing. First off, here's our high pass filter and I'm rolling off all frequencies below 50 hertz on my entire drum sound, including the kick drum. Now you might be wondering, isn't that extreme? I mean, that's a lot of low end, you're getting rid of your kick drum, but here's the thing, there's this trick that engineers used to do back in the day with the Neve EQs, where they would high pass with this control and then boost their low end in the low end section. And if you look here, I have my low end set to 60 hertz and I'm boosting it by around 6 dB on my low band on the EQ. So what this is actually doing is creating a nice subtle kind of hump in the 50 to 40 hertz range, because again, I'm rolling off all frequencies below 50, but you gotta remember, some of that information is still there. And by rolling it off and then boosting it here, it's creating a nice little peak or resonance in that punchy zone of my kick drum. I've always liked that trick because it's simple and gets the job done on most source material, and it's working perfectly here. So just to demonstrate this to you, I want you to pay very close attention to the low end. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bypass the high pass filter temporarily, and I'm gonna bypass the low band EQ. Check it out. Now, if you're checking with headphones, you probably notice that now the kick drum is way punchier, but in a very nice, controlled, and tight way, which I'm all about, especially when it comes to heavier genres of music. Now, a few other controls here. I felt that the snare drum and some of the toms are sounding a little boxy, so all I'm doing is pulling out a little bit at 700 hertz by only 3 dB. But when I was dialing in the EQ, I wasn't thinking 700 hertz or 1K. I simply moved the dial to where it sounded best and just reduced those frequencies. And this is why I love using an analog style EQ from time to time, because I don't get caught up in numbers, which we're all guilty of. Now, even with these controls dialed in, I still felt my drums were a little dark. And this is where the high shelf filter comes in. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna bypass the high shelf filter and I'm gonna increase it, which I have at only 2 dB, just so you can hear how much of a difference this high shelf filter and how much shine it's adding to my overall drum sound. Pay close attention to the cymbals. That subtle 2 dB boost really adds a nice sparkle and a nice crispness to my overall drum sound, and especially the top end of my cymbals. And finally, we have our preamp section. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bypass it and I'm gonna increase the mic preamp gain just so you could hear what it's adding, again, to my overall drum sound. So simple, just increasing that mic preamp gain. I'm adding some subtle saturation and just some overall gloss to my drum sound as a whole. Now, if you watched any of my videos, I'm sure you know by now that I'm no stranger to stock plugins. I've done entire mixes using nothing but the stock plugins, both in Reaper and within my own DAW Pro Tools. But sometimes I want to be a little more efficient and I want a little more of that analog workflow while working in the box. And plugins like this are great because you get the best of both worlds. The efficiency and convenience of working in the box, but the feel and sound of an analog piece of hardware. And in this case, a plugin that's very similar to the Neve 1073. Now, I'm not the kind of guy that obsesses about the exact plugin or the exact piece of gear. All that matters for me is that it's giving me great results with the minimal amount of mind power or brain power. I just want to be in a creative space at all times. And this is why I'm a huge fan of the Sonimus plugins. I feel they're flexible, affordable, and they really help my workflow. Now, if you're interested in checking out the Burnley 73, I will leave a link to it right below in this video's description. And full disclosure, it is an affiliate link. So if you decide to pick up the plugin, you'll be helping to support me and the channel. So tell me, do you get caught up in numbers when you're EQing? Do your drums never sound crisp? Do they either sound shrill or overly muddy? Leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion. And also, if you'd like to check out all of my EQ settings that I usually start with when starting a mix from scratch, there's a link below to my quick EQ guide. You can download it for absolutely free. Again, click on the link below in this video's description and download the guide. If you found this video helpful, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And do not forget to click the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload one of my weekly videos on all things metal and rock production. You can both like and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Links are in the description below. And until next time, happy mixing.